So here we go. I'm starting to take off the doors with the cradle apparatus I had explained. It seemed to work pretty good. Here we're at 10 times speed, so I'm not boring you too much. But obviously what's going to happen is the doors come off and all the plastic trim and weather stripping, that all comes off. Get it to a point where I can use that cardboard that you see inside the back door there behind me. Use that to block off the area so that I can start to use the cutoff wheel and grinder and drills to drill out the spot welds and get rid of those existing rocker boards. What I didn't realize before I started this is how bad they were. I knew they had to be replaced, but I didn't know how far gone they were. So I had purchased pretty much everything I thought I would need as far as metal goes and paint products, stuff like that. Because my other vehicle is put up in storage, so this is my main source of transportation. The inner, the supporting panel, um, that wouldn't, that was all rusted away. So that delayed things 10 days. Had to, or actually, no, it was 12 days. They were on back order. If I could get them from the dealer, but they were roughly triple the price. And I figured, well, I'll wait and save $500 or so. So from here, I think what I'm going to do is just keep going at 10 times speed and maybe chime in every once in a while, but let you guys just kind of watch the process. It's not really a how-to, it's more of a how I did it, and give you some idea on what's involved. But it was quite a bit of work. In the end, it paid off, though. this point, I wasn't sure how to proceed. You can see that the inner support um, metal is still there. It's completely rusted away at the bottom. What I thought I'd do is go ahead and get some primer on there, rust converter, so that I can go online and see where I can find an inner support for the rocker panel, for the outer rocker panel. Where the 12-day wait came in. Um, the outside ones were readily available. It's the inner ones that weren't. Nobody had them except the dealer, like I said. And they were showing they had them, but I didn't bother calling because they were 3 times the price. Another thing to note is I cut off the cab corner. I do it on both sides, and I only cut it off to a point where I can reach. I didn't want to take the bed off. I know that's the right way to do it. Remove the bed, and then you have full access to the cab corners. But that was a little bit too much. I didn't want to go that far. So what I did is I cut them back as far as I could and still be able to reach them with my MIG welder and also be able to grind them. The part that I couldn't reach would wind up, I'd fit it together the best that I could, whether it overlapped or not. And in the end, I masked it off and filled it with a line of seam sealer. But it's back behind the bed, and it's really, you got to look for it to notice it. So I was quite okay with that. And that might be the solution for other people also that want to tackle this but don't want to remove the bed. At this point, I'm trimming that cab corner, drilling out, grinding out rivets, welds to remove the rest of the cab corner that I need to allow for fitment of the new one. Obvious that I lost the footage for the cab corner, welding that on. You can see it looks a little bit crooked right now, and that's because I've only welded up the seam where I had it fitted. I haven't welded it back to the behind the cab there. That's actually going to get plug welds, so that'll suck it in a little bit at the bottom. As you can tell, it looks a little crooked. Here I'm starting to remove the inner supports for the rocker panels. I guess the inner support rocker panels are what they're called. I figured it's a lot better to section them, trying to get them out. Instead of trying to take them out all at once, I would have destroyed the cab corner, or maybe messed up the front fender trying to do that. And I seen no reason to, because I certainly wasn't going to save it. after finishing the plug welds on the second layer, I decided to go back and kind of strategically place some more plug welds, but I wanted to drill through both layers, the outer, the supporting layer, inner, and plug weld that to the support structure that supports the floor. So by adding these, it really tied everything together. I think it'll make it much stronger. So if you originally came here for the power running boards, finally to the point now where I can install them and see if all the work I put into them paid off. The installation is very simple. There's four larger bolts that hold the brackets on. Then there's four smaller bolts that hold the actual running board platform to the pair of brackets. There's one electrical connector for the motor, and really that's about it. You have to be aware that you can shift the running boards forward and backwards when you mount them. Usually the threaded inserts for the smaller bolts to the brackets are kind of corroded or locked in place, but they can be bumped around because you do need some kind of adjustment forward and back, like closer to the front tire or closer to the back tire. And I found that out when I installed my fender flares, which I'll show you that coming up. But the fender flares are a lot larger, and I closed the door, the running board went up, and then came back down. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Already failing? Couldn't believe it. And then I looked a little closer and noticed that the front of the running board was hitting the newly installed larger fender flare. So I was putting pressure on it, and the running board motor did what it's supposed to do. It senses a restriction and then reverses. So that I just loosened up those four smaller bolts that hold the running board to the brackets, and then I used a block of wood and was able to tap the running board towards the rear a little bit. After that, I closed the door, double checked it. Naturally, everything was fine. I found out anytime you disconnect the battery on the vehicle that you have to go back into the menu system in the dash and re-enable the running board motion, because it automatically sets them to the off position, meaning that they won't automatically deploy. So you just go back into the menu system and you put them on auto so that when each door is open, they deploy, and then you close the door and they retract. Pretty smooth. No weird noises. No jerkiness. Yeah, I'm liking those. Sure did miss them. Looks like a successful repair to me.